Okay, let's unpack this. Because if you're a Liverpool fan, this is definitely the news you've been waiting for.
Absolutely. That big here we go moment.
Exactly. A definitive, concrete here we go for Florian Wirtz. After what felt like, endless speculation, the deal is truly done.
Finally. It felt like it was dragging on a bit, didn't it?
It really did. But he's officially moving to Merseyside. And his medical tests. Apparently absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I heard that. First part Thursday, final part today. Friday, all good.
Spot on. And all contracts will be signed tomorrow, Saturday. Everything's settled between the clubs, too. So you, Liverpool supporters, you've got your new superstar.
It's quite something, isn't it, how that certainty just cuts through after weeks of whispers. And what stands out to me here is, well, it's not just that it's final, but the details.
Like the medical?
Yeah, the perfect medicals, the stage signing, the confirmed club agreement. It tells you this wasn't some last-minute scramble,
Right. It feels very deliberate.
Exactly. Meticulously planned. In a market that's often, let's be honest, pretty chaotic, this kind of clinical execution from Liverpool, it shows serious work behind the scenes.
Absolutely. And that clinical precision, that getting into the details, that's exactly what we try to do here on the Deep Dive.
Mm-hmm.
We take a whole stack of sources, just like the really granular insights we've got today, and we pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights.
Cut through the noise.
That's the mission, yeah. To get you truly well-informed quickly by focusing on those crucial, sometimes subtle details that maybe others miss.
Mm-hmm.
We think understanding the why and the how behind the headlines gives you a real edge.
Definitely. Context is everything.
So today we're taking a sort of rapid-fire journey into this sometimes crazy, always complex world of the football transfer market. We'll unpack these here we go moments, look at negotiations that really advanced, and touch on critical internal discussions shaping the future of major clubs across Europe.
It's going to be fascinating. So many moving parts.
It really is. So settle in, because we're about to dive deep into this intricate web of player movements and hopefully reveal some patterns you might not have considered. All right, let's kick things off properly with Liverpool then, because while the Wirtz deal is, it's massive, it's not the only piece of really good news coming out of Merseyside, apparently. That Wirtz deal, like you said, completely finalized. The relief for fans must be, well, you can feel it.
Oh, for sure. End of that saga.
But here's where it gets even more interesting. Milos Kirk is supposedly the next one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a here we go for him is apparently imminent. Very soon. So for Liverpool supporters, it's not just one big signing. It's like confirmation that key attacking targets are being locked down fast.
That's impressive speed, back to back almost.
Right. So you can genuinely maybe relax and enjoy this bit, look forward to this new chapter.
Well, it certainly highlights a very clear, proactive recruitment strategy from Liverpool, doesn't it?
Seems like it.
They're not just reacting to who becomes available. They're executing a plan they clearly had in place. Securing Kirk so quickly after Wirtz, it suggests they identified their main targets early and just moved decisively.
Yeah, no messing about.
And what's interesting about getting them both done now is how it probably minimizes the risk of getting dragged into those long, drawn-out bidding wars later in the window where prices just inflate.
Good point. Gets expensive later on.
It's an aggressive move, really. Building a strong foundation for the future, it feels like, rather than just, plugging immediate gaps.
But as we always say in football, where you have significant incomings,
there are usually outgoings, too.
Almost always some strategic outgoings, yeah. And this brings us to Jürgen Klopp, interest from Bayer Leverkusen, which was kind of a background noise.
Yeah, I heard whispers about that.
It's now escalated into a concrete negotiation. We're talking very advanced stages here.
Really, that moved fast.
Apparently so. With a proposed fee of £30 million plus add-ons.
Wow, 30 million. Okay.
And get this. Personal terms are already agreed with the player.
Already? Blimey.
Yeah. Leverkusen, obviously, after making, very good profit from selling Florian Wirtz and Jeremy Frimpong.
All right, they've got cash to splash.
They clearly have significant capital to spend, and they seem keen to invest it in Kwanzaa. We know Newcastle had some prior interest, but it really looks like Leverkusen are pushing hard now.
From a squad management viewpoint, that's an interesting one for Liverpool, isn't it?
How so?
Well, at what point does the financial gain from selling a promising young player like Kwanzaa outweigh his, future contribution to the team? £30 million plus add-ons. That's not small change.
No, it's serious money.
It's a substantial sum that they could immediately reinvest. And Leverkusen going after him so aggressively, it also says a lot about their scouting and their confidence in integrating young talent.
True.
It's a sort of calculated exchange, isn't it? Yeah. Potential for immediate cash, allowing Liverpool to then strategically reallocate those funds.
And speaking of strategically reallocating, Liverpool are apparently already actively working on new defenders.
Makes sense if Quansah might go.
Exactly. While Din Hone, a player reportedly wanted by Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal, he ultimately chose Real Madrid.
Yeah, that ship has sailed.
Right. But another prominent name has emerged on Liverpool's shortlist. Mark Guéhi of Crystal Palace.
Yeah, okay. Solid player.
He is reportedly one of the top names being considered to replace Quansah this summer. He's apparently highly appreciated by Liverpool's director Richard Hughes.
Richard Hughes, yes.
Yes. And by several other top English clubs, too. Newcastle have wanted him since last summer, apparently, and Chelsea have been scouting him for ages.
Lots of interest there, then.
It really underlines how interconnected these transfers are.
Yeah.
One move out potentially triggers a whole series of strategic thoughts and counter moves for the replacement.
That's a classic domino effect, isn't it? In real time. Quansah's potential departure creates that immediate need, and Guéhi, well, he's a proven Premier League talent, highly rated by multiple clubs. He becomes a logical target.
Fits the bill.
Yeah. But what's critical here isn't just finding a replacement, but finding the right one. Someone who fits the tactical profile and, crucially, is actually available.
And affordable, presumably.
And affordable, yeah. The competition for Guéhi also suggests Liverpool aren't just looking at him alone. They'll be assessing him against a wider market of available center backs, weighing up the value versus immediate impact, long-term potential, all that stuff.
So it's not just a simple swap.
No, it's about strategic squad evolution, really.
Okay, let's pivot now, change focus a bit to Crystal Palace. Because they've been remarkably quiet on the market, haven't they?
Very quiet, yeah. But you say that in a positive way.
Well, yeah, because don't let the quiet fool you. Apparently, behind the scenes, things are definitely happening.
Ah, the silent assassins.
Kinda. They've shown very strong interest, reportedly, in signing Ousmane Diomande from Sporting.
Diomande, okay. Yeah, interesting. Young center back, right?
That's him. And the agreement with the player is apparently already done, which is a massive step.
Player side sorted, that's key.
Huge. So now they're working diligently club to club to try and finalize the deal. This is another, interesting piece in this whole defensive puzzle across Europe.
It really is.
And it could unfold quite quickly in the coming hours, apparently, just showing again how linked everything is.
And that's a perfect example of a well-executed, sort of understated transfer strategy, isn't it?
How do you mean?
Palace securing personal terms first gives them real leverage in the club-to-club talks. It signals they're serious, puts the pressure on Sporting, really, knowing the player wants the move.
Right, makes sense.
And often these quiet, disciplined moves, they often get you the best value, Avoids that public bidding war that just pushes prices up. It's a testament to patience and doing the groundwork properly.
Okay, and speaking of intensity, even if it's quiet intensity, we're about to dive into what feels like a bit of a whirlwind in the winger market across Europe.
Ah, yes, the winger dominoes.
Exactly. First up, Ronny Bargi from Copenhagen. He's a genuinely talented winger, very highly rated.
Still very young, too, isn't he?
Yeah, and crucially, he's out of contract in December, which obviously makes him a very attractive prospect for several clubs.
Free agent soon or near enough.
Right. Barcelona, in particular, have expressed genuine interest. They've apparently made contact with Copenhagen and the players' camp. But here's the interesting bit. Not to wait for him as a free agent.
Oh, they want him now.
They want to sign him now for a transfer fee.
Okay, that shows intent.
Definitely. We know Porto even sent a bid recently, and Olympique Marseille were in talks, but they eventually stepped away. So Barcelona seem really keen on getting Bargi in now for their future plans.
Yeah, that specific approach from Barcelona, wanting him now, it highlights something important in modern squad building, doesn't it?
Which is?
Grabbing that high-potential young talent before they hit free agency. Waiting seems smart financially, maybe.
Save the fee.
Right, but you often miss out on crucial development time with the player, or you just face way more competition when everyone can offer a contract.
True, it becomes a free-for-all.
Exactly. By making an offer now, Barcelona are showing they really believe in his immediate and future value. Get him into the system sooner. It's a proactive investment, sort of future-proofing their attack rather than just reacting later.
Makes sense. But the real high-stakes negotiation in the winger market, the one that's got everyone talking, it involves Nico Williams from Athletic Club.
Ah, yes. The big one.
And here's the crucial update. Nico Williams has reportedly agreed personal terms with Barcelona.
Wow, okay. That's huge.
It is. We're talking about a 6-year contract, apparently worth an impressive $7 to $8 million net per season.
6 years.
Yeah.
And $7-8 million net. That's serious commitment from Barca.
Absolutely. Barcelona and Williams people are apparently already exchanging documents, meticulously checking every single detail of the verbal agreement. So on the player's side, everything seems prepared.
That level of detail, the 6-year contract, the salary.
Yeah.
It really underlines Barca's long-term view here, doesn't it?
Totally.
It's not just a short-term fix. They clearly see Williams as a cornerstone for their attack going forward. And exchanging documents, that's the final, often painstaking step before a signature, confirms the player's desire and just how detailed these top deals are. However,
there's always a however.
Usually. This is where the player's desire bumps up against the club's financial reality.
And that financial reality is the biggest hurdle, isn't it? Athletic Club are standing firm. They want 58 million euros plus taxes.
Oof. So that totals, what, a bit more than 60 million euros?
Yeah, just over 60 million. And Barcelona are actively trying to find a solution, some way to reach an agreement without triggering that release clause.
Right, trying to structure a deal differently, maybe, installments, players involved.
Exactly. This is where the real negotiation dance gets complicated. Meanwhile, other interested clubs, especially in England, like Arsenal and Chelsea, the feeling now is it's almost impossible for them to sign him.
Because the Barca talks are so advanced.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
And Bayern Munich, interestingly, they know Nico Williams wants to go to Barcelona. His camp apparently told them a few days ago.
Okay, so Bayern are aware.
But Bayern will seemingly maintain their patience. They'll wait until the very last moment before moving on to other targets. They're holding out hope that if anything happens...
Like a breakdown between Barca and Athletic?
Yeah, or issues with La Liga's financial fair play rules, anything like that. Bayern would still try and swoop in.
Wow. Talk about strategic patience. This whole situation is just a masterclass in negotiation complexity, isn't it?
It really is.
You've got the player's clear desire, the selling club's rigid financial stance on the clause, and then competitors playing this strategic waiting game.
Athletic holding firm forces Barca's hand, really.
It forces them onto that complex financial tightrope. They have to get creative with payments or swaps to avoid that huge upfront lump sum. And Bayern's calculated patience, even knowing the player prefers Barca, it just shows they're ready to capitalize on any unexpected hiccup.
Anything could still happen, technically.
Exactly. It highlights how things like financial fair play and release clauses, they don't just add obstacles. They actually dictate the whole rhythm and potential outcome of these massive transfers.
So if the Nico Williams deal does prove impossible for Bayern, what are their backup plans? Because top clubs always have contingency plans, right?
Always. Plan B, C, D.
Right. Kingsley Coman is a player they apparently deeply admire, but Paris Saint-Germain wants to keep him. There's been no green light from PSG for a transfer yet.
Yeah, PSG seemed pretty firm on Coman.
And they've also internally discussed Rafael Leo from AC Milan, again, after a couple of weeks' pause. But as of now, still no bid, no formal proposal, no concrete negotiations underway.
Leo is always linked, but it never seems to get truly concrete, does it?
Seems that way. There are just so many unanswered questions around Leo. What are Milan's real intentions, especially with a new coach coming in? What does Leo himself actually want?
A lot of variables there.
It just shows you how many moving parts, how many layers of decision-making are involved, even for the biggest clubs, when their number one target looks difficult to land.
Absolutely. And it reveals the depth of planning needed in this market. Top clubs have to have solid backup options. But even then, Coman and Leao, they're obviously elite talents.
No doubt.
But the lack of a green light or concrete bids shows that player quality is only one part of it. The selling club's willingness, the player's availability, the complex finances, they're just as decisive.
Yeah.
Those many questions around Leao especially, they highlight that even internal discussions don't guarantee a move. The selling club's strategy and the player's own wishes ultimately play huge roles. It's just a reminder of how fluid and unpredictable it all is until that final signature.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, you can really see the sheer volume and honestly almost dizzying complexity of the moves we've talked about today.
It's a lot to track.
It really is. From the confirmed done deals like Florian Wirtz to transfers at incredibly advanced stages for players like Jarell Quansah and Ousmane Diomande, right through to the intricate, high-stakes internal chats and that multi-club chess game around wingers like Nico Williams, Ronnie Bargi, Koeman, Liao.
A proper web.
It truly is a crazy market, isn't it? Where one major move can just ripple outwards, triggering that domino effect across multiple clubs, multiple positions, influencing strategies way beyond just this one window.
Precisely. And understanding this market, it isn't just about, reading the headlines of who went where.
No, there's more to it.
It's about seeing the patterns underneath, connecting the dots between what clubs need, their financial situations, which are always shifting, and that delicate dance of player availability. It's recognizing the strategic and financial implications behind the news.
Yeah, the why.
The why, exactly. How selling one player impacts the buying club's ability to then get their next target, or how a failed negotiation for player A immediately triggers a pivot to plan B elsewhere. It's this truly interconnected web, constantly shifting, constantly evolving, and always driven by more than just what you see on the surface.
And maybe a final thought for you, as we watch these individual pieces of news unfold, consider how much of what we just unpacked is actually about securing a specific desired player versus how much is about reacting to what competitors are doing or maybe what they aren't doing.
Proactive versus reactive.
Exactly. And think about the long-term impact these rapid, high-stakes decisions have on team identity, on tactical evolution, on future success, far beyond just the next season. The ripple effects are genuinely profound. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us today. We really hope you've not just gained some information, but maybe a more detailed understanding that goes beyond those surface-level reports.
Keep asking questions.
Definitely. Keep that curiosity alive and keep seeking out the genuine insight. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.